Yeah.
You're talking about Hugh Jackman, but I also know from your posts when Paul Rubens passed that
Mm.
you had posted how kind he had been to you
Yeah,
throughout your career, and I think
yeah.
if you don't mind sharing that, because I was really touched by what you had written, and I really appreciated that very much.
Yeah, it was basically like what I had said about how, Paul, when he was trying to, when he had to come do the show to come to Broadway, he just, made it known that he knew that I loved Broadway, and he didn't understand. It was like, well, what's the point of going to Broadway without Lance? He's the biggest lover of Broadway, and so he made sure. But then he was very supportive. Um, he came to see Aladdin, and he took pictures with the cast when we were out at California Adventure. And then when he would come to New York a couple of times, he would always call me. And during the pandemic, we were doing FaceTime and just to sort of keep in touch. And then I had a web series called Broadway's Calling during the pandemic, where I asked my Broadway friends to come on and talk about the moment, the first and only time that it happens, the moment when they got the call to be on Broadway. And from like, one of my guests was Glenn Close, and she was my first guest, and and she explained that, and just like that was glorious. Well, Paul came on also, which I am so happy. I rewatched the episode because it was a reunion of sort, because we got a lot of people from the Playhouse
Mm.
uh, to come back and just talk about you know uh, how important Paul was to them, and how lovely it was to you know be in Pee Wee's Playhouse on Broadway, with all that fun. And he's a very special person who, when the Pee Wee's Playhouse was on television, I was older. I think it was probably around the time we were doing Cats in LA. So I wasn't the college kid, smoking weed and watching Pee Wee Herman, and neither was I the little kid watching it and going, "Oh my God, fun!" But I was a little older, but I did see a couple of episodes and I thought it was very creative, but I wasn't as familiar. By the time we were doing the show, and I can't, you can see it, it's still on, they call it Max now, but HBO Max on demand, the show, and you'll hear the crowd. Well, it was like that every single performance. And at first I was like, what is going on? And then I realized there are all these, at that point, late 30 something, early 40 something kids who had been watching Pee Wee's Playhouse in their bedrooms alone, screaming at the TV. And now here they were in a theater, all of them together. So when we said the secret word, it was pandemonium. And it was just, the secret word was fun. And every time we said it, it was like you had to cover your ears sometimes.